Okay, we shall start now. It's 25 minutes to 4. And since there are no participants in the Francophone side, we will be switching to English. Okay, so we'll be using English as a language for this afternoon, for this session. Okay?
Good. All good.
Okay. Okay. Probably you just enroll in MIGS 221 due to some technical problems and some of our failures in which we enroll first years instead of second years. But this course is intended for second years in service, not for first years. Okay? This afternoon, I'm going to give you a presentation and probably an introductory presentation to MIGS 221. Okay? MIGS 221 was previously called Mathematics for Upper Classes. Now it has been changed to Mathematics Assessment and Evaluation. And I think it is the most appropriate, excellent course for all teachers, primary, secondary, because in the end of teaching, you need to know some types of assessment, some assessment strategies. Okay? So that's why we changed that course from Mathematics for Upper Classes, which is a content-oriented course, and now to one that is a little bit like much more belong to educational studies than mathematics. It is confined to mathematics only because all the assessment tasks that is talked about here, the information given is all about mathematics in assessment and evaluation. Okay? So before we go on, maybe I'll ask some of you, maybe you can answer, what is assessment? How do you define assessment as a teacher? And you can answer from anywhere, wherever you are. What is assessment to you? What does it mean? How do you apply it in your class? Okay, so can we have one answer from your side? Whoever. I guess you will not be like my students here. When I ask questions, whenever I ask a question, I ended up answering my own question. I hope it will not be the same with your group. Also, our internet connection is not stable, and we might have some disturbances along the way. Anyway, whatever we have now, we just continue with this. Okay. Okay. Can you answer that question? How do you define assessment, or what is assessment? Okay, before we continue, we need to know what is assessment in its simplest form, and it's on how we can understand it, because this course is all about assessment. So we need to know, to have a clear understanding of what is assessment in regard to, in this case, regard to mathematics. How would you define assessment? Is this the same as test and examination and all these, or different? Okay, you can answer. Anybody can answer. Just unmute your mic. Yeah.
I will give a start, and then others will come in.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Yes. From assessment as learned from the readings, or the readings, or from my personal understanding is it's all about collecting of information from students, collecting what information, but from the subjects taught in class, and then we try to carry out an assessment to see if we have achieved some we have achieved the lessons being taught, especially the skills that we have taught the students in class, especially in numeracy. For example, in numeracy, if we are teaching students the basic skills of adding some digits, and then assessment is carried out maybe during or within or at the end of the lesson to see that if we have if children have achieved the skill of adding 2 digits or 2 to 1 digits. But again, in addition to that, I've learned from the readings that there are 3 types, 3 variants of assessment. One is assessment of learning, assessment for learning, and assessment as learning.
Yeah.
But that's what I understood. That's what I understood generally about assessment from the readings that I read. Others will add on to what.
Yes, others can elaborate, but of course that is your definition about assessment. It might be personal, it might be stipulated, belongs to you alone, but it's better to know to define this word before we go on, so that you know that this course is all about assessment and you know what assessment we are talking about. Okay? Assessment is gathering information about our children's achievement. Okay? Any child can achieve at a different level. We will not require all of them to. It will be foolish to do that, to require them to be on the same level. Each child should be at a different level, but despite being different in levels, they are achieving some types of learning. Okay, we try to keep a negative view on zero learning, no learning at all. Okay. Anyway, now I'll start with the presentation since there are a lot of you present, and maybe you can share with those who cannot make it this afternoon. Okay. Now we have two words before I continue. We have assessment and evaluation. If assessment is the gathering of information of achievement from our children, what is evaluation? Are they the same? Can we have your contribution from your side? Joel Stephen, I think from Manua Primary School, on the other side of your party, answered the first one. Can we have another one from another school? What is, if assessment as defined by Joel, and we agree with that, there might be some changes in how we perceive assessment. What is evaluation? So can we have someone from your side to answer this question? What is evaluation? It looks as if there is no difference between you and my class. Anyway, maybe I'll help you here. Evaluation is making use of your assessment result. Simple as that. How do you utilize the result from your assessment? After all, why assessment? And after assessment, what are you going to do with the result? So evaluation is utilization of the result coming from your students' achievement. And of course, like I said before, they'll be performing at different levels. Low levels, how are you going to bring them up. Okay, so that is to do with evaluation. Okay, so now I hope you have this idea. Assessment and evaluation in this course means that. Assessment means gathering information about our students' achievement, and evaluation is making use of those results to address my teaching, to address academic board, to address the curriculum writers, and so on. Okay? Okay. First of all, before I go on this presentation, I assume you have read all the readings in Moodle from week 1 to at least week 4 or week 5. Okay? If you haven't, then there is no problem. Just indicate where are you now? Week 1, week 2. Make it personal. I'm in week 2. I'm in week 1. I'm struggling. You can tell me whatever situation you are, and maybe we'll be flexible along as we go on with this. Okay? Can we have one comment from your side as to which week you are in now? I know that this course has been launched at the very beginning and then disturbed by COVID. And then we came back and we re-enrolled, and we enrolled the wrong group. We enrolled first years. And then we rectify what we did, and now we have you. And I think you are the most appropriate trainees for this course, since you are all second years. Okay? But just indicate if you have read the readings from week 1 to 5 or not yet. So some from week 1 to, okay? Because this afternoon I'll be talking about the nature of the assignment 1, and that is the major assignment.
Manua week 3.
Manua is week 3. How many of you at Manua Primary School or secondary school now? How many participants from Manua?
2 actually, but one Anglophone, one Francophone.
Okay. So your Francophone counterpart do not participate with us today, eh?
No, maybe he
Okay.
she thought it was for Anglophones.
Okay. What about others? If Manua is week 1, week 2, now on to week 3, what about the others? Tolsen and people from Kamewa, and who else?
Kamewa is also in,
yeah?
Kamewa is also in week 3.
Week 3. Okay.
Mr. Ian, I am not sure, but I have just received at this course populated on my account last week. I'm not sure because when it is populated, everyone received at the same time or not, but I have just received it last week. And so I haven't started anything yet.
Okay, it's okay, no problem. We go along with your situation.
Okay,
it's okay if you haven't started, but I'll be summarizing what you are supposed to do from week 1 to week 5.
Okay.
There's music coming from the background. We don't know from which I think some people are celebrating. Anyway, thank you for keeping the noise down. Okay, because this evening, this afternoon, I'm going to summarize what you ought to do before doing assignment 1. Okay? So here, I assume that you have read all the readings in Moodle from week 1 to week 5, in which I'm not correct in this, because some of you have just started, some of you are in week 3, and maybe some are still struggling. But at least you should have, from now on, you should try and read the handouts in week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. Okay, and that is prior to doing assignment 1, and that is a major assignment. And week 1 is just familiarization with the MIGS221 course requirements. Okay, talks about the whole course, what will be covered in week 1, week 2, week 3. Okay, and the assessment detailed description of the course. This is in week 1. Okay, and then we started the course by presenting you with 2 important documents. Both documents are national documents. One is the Vanuatu National Curriculum Statement, section 6 and 7, if I forgot, maybe 7 or 8, where it talks about assessment. Okay, that is from the Vanuatu Curriculum National Curriculum Statement. Another important document in this course that drives this course, all concepts of assessment, is the Vanuatu National National Assessment Policy, in which we also posted in week 2 or week 3 for you to read. Okay, so you need to read all these documents so that you know why are we doing this, why are we doing such assessment, why are we changing from traditional assessment to modern assessment due to these trends in assessment. Well, because the policy says so. The Vanuatu Curriculum Statement says so in section 6 and 7 or 8, and it's in the National Assessment Policy. And if we go beyond these 2 documents to other parts of the world, like the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics, we should be within those assessment strategies. Okay, so we are governed by 3 documents. 3 important documents. It's like the constitution that leads a country how to behave and how to run the administration. For us, why we are doing this type of assessment? Because the national policy, the national curriculum statement, and also the principle of assessment in the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics. All of the things are already inside your Moodle. Okay? And this is to give us a reason why are we assessing this way, but not like the whole ways. Okay. And then for week 2, we talked about trends. Trends means changes in mathematics assessment, and also implicated by Jacques Delors' philosophy on the 4 pillars of learning, where it gives us a focus on 4 pillars: learning to know, learning to do, learning to be, and learning to live together. Okay? Just to give you a few examples. Now we have so many graduated people, very high qualification, like masters, PhD. Okay? But again, we cannot deny that there are a lot of qualified people with masters and PhD who have no skills in doing anything. They cannot back up that knowledge. Okay? Now they are being paid for, not because of the work they are doing, but because of the certification that they have. But in fact, if you look at, or if you try and observe them for a week or a month, you will know that they have no skills. Very difficult for you to approach them because their attitude is frightening. Okay? And that's why this curriculum comes in to address all this. Okay? We have 42 years after independence now, and you can see our products, our children, now in their youth. Some are married, some are getting old. You can see them everywhere. and how do they behave? How do you judge their knowledge and skills? Even if because maybe some of them will leave school at year 11, year 12, year 13. Are they utilizing those knowledge and skills in the village or not? If they cannot, then there's something wrong. And that's why we are changing our ways of teaching, ways of assessment to cater for these issues. Otherwise, we'll be repeating it for the next 40 years to make 80 years with the same group of people, same product. Okay? And week 3 will be on constructive alignment and the solo taxonomy. I know a lot of you are more familiar with Bloom taxonomy. After we change from objective type curriculum to outcome based, and that's why you are writing one learning outcome for your lesson, because you think it's the same curriculum, but it's not. This is outcome based and it's different from objective based. Okay, objective based, we emphasize knowledge and only one learning outcome. It's enough for the whole lesson. With constructive alignment and the solo taxonomy, we saw, and with the implication of Jacques Delors' philosophy of the 4 pillars of learning, now we align we align our learning outcomes, and that is 4 learning outcomes. We align with our teaching method, how we are going to teach these 4 learning outcomes, because these 4 learning outcomes, although they are 4, it belongs to only one lesson. Okay? And all of these 4 learning outcomes belong to one particular concept. Okay? They are not isolated. They are very close, tied together. Okay? Now, if you are aware with Bloom taxonomy, you will note that Bloom taxonomy has how many levels? Can someone answer that? How many levels for Bloom?
6.
6. Okay, read. Read it. Knowledge.
Comprehension.
Comprehension.
Application.
Application.
Synthesis.
No. Not synthesis. Analysis. Yes.
Analysis. Yeah.
Analysis.
Synthesis and evaluation.
Synthesis, evaluation.
Yes, and evaluation. And now you have another revised Bloom taxonomy, which comes with verbs like remember, understand, and so on. Okay? But anyway, there are 6 levels. You have knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Okay? So as an expert in Bloom taxonomy, you should know all of these levels. I know why you cannot remember the last 3. That is analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. And I know the reason. Yes. Yes, but the reason is why you are not using it.
Because it's a higher level. Primary level, we use the first 3.
Yes, and that is a wrong concept. A taxonomy should belong to the whole class. Because if I say identify in class 1, that same identify will be different in year 7, year 12, or year 13. Okay? If I say create a house using sticks and brooms and leaves for class 1, and that is the highest level of Bloom taxonomy, create, it will be different for another class. Okay, so this is where we go wrong. When we use part of the taxonomy, first part, the first 3, and we neglected the other 3. Now, do you know knowledge comprehension and application only assess low-level thinking?
Yes.
And then that's why we always at that low-level thinking. Okay. Now we are not supposed to do that. We need to include the six of them. Okay. And then there's a lot of noise in the background of someone. Okay. Thank you for keeping the noise on. And the solo taxonomy is a new taxonomy. And this is founded by Professor John MIGS from Australia. I know, and I got this taxonomy in Thailand, Bangkok City in Thailand, when I attend the one workshop in Southeast Asia Learning Achievement. And that's where I got this taxonomy in 2005. And when I brought this taxonomy to Vanuatu, no one wants to listen to me. Now you have no choice because the solo taxonomy is designed for outcome-based curriculum. So that's why you have no choice. With the examination curriculum writers, we will always use the solo taxonomy. And I can describe the disadvantage and advantage, or why if we use solo against Bloom, you'll see that solo has more advantages than Bloom. Okay? For example, Bloom is a taxonomy for knowledge. And that's why we are writing objectives. Our objectives now we call them learning outcome, but learning objectives are written using Bloom taxonomy nowadays, and I'm very familiar with Bloom 10, 20 years ago. But when I studied solo and Bloom together, I found out that solo taxonomy is much more appropriate than Bloom, because solo is an abbreviation and it means structure of observable learning outcome. So it talks about the structure of a learning outcome, nothing else. Okay? Now, while Bloom says cognitive level of a learning outcome comes from the verb in a learning outcome, according to your reading, you have gone through the aspects of a learning outcome, yes? And it appears in the primal knowledge and the solo taxonomy. That is, it describes what is a learning outcome. Yes, I hope all of you have prior knowledge for that. And as we know, a learning outcome has how many aspects or how many parts? Now, a learning outcome, I think some of us are almost towards their retirement, and we write learning outcome every day from the very first day we were appointed until today. But how many parts has a learning outcome? Can anyone answer that? How many parts?
Four.
Okay, name it or name them. Four with no name. Now, if you have read the Untitled, which has a title, Primal Knowledge and the Solo Taxonomy, at the very front page, it will tell you what is a learning outcome and how many aspects of a learning outcome and how to write a good learning outcome. Okay? That is in the primal knowledge and solo taxonomy in Moodle week 2 or week 3. Okay? You can download that undoubted you haven't read anything from it. But a learning outcome has three aspects. It has one stem, stambablem. Emikat stambablem. And the stem is known as a statement like, at the end of this lesson, my student will or should be able to. That is the stem. And that stem belongs to any subject, any teacher, any lecturer. Only one stem. And then after the stem, you have an active verb. And that's where the taxonomy comes in. Okay? You have an active verb like calculate or use or create. Okay? And then the last part of the learning outcome is called the object of the learning outcome. It describes what kind of action will take place. Okay? For example, if I say, at the end of this lesson, my student will walk from here to Santo Town, from Peco Airport to Santo Town. Okay? The verb is walk. And the object is from Peco to Santo Town. Now, with that same verb, it would be different if I say by the end of this lesson, my student should walk from here to the top of Mount Tapuemasan. Okay? Now, the difficulty within that learning outcomes does not come from the verb, but it comes from the object. Okay? So the object, the active verb and the object in any learning outcome determines the difficulty of that learning outcome. Okay? Just remember for examination at the end of this course, you might be asked to explain that one. Okay, and the difference between Solo and Bloom is that Solo says the difficulty comes within the verb and the object after the verb, where Bloom says the difficulty comes from the verb. Now, if you think along this line, you will know you will know straight away that Solo make more sense than Bloom. Another difference is that Bloom says you start with knowledge and then comprehension and then application. Solo taxonomy says you start with pre-structural, and the value of pre-structural, the description behind pre-structural, is that you do not know anything about that question. Okay? For example, if I question you about who is the president of Kiribati Republic, how many of you know the name of this president? Probably all of you do not know. Okay? And it can happen in a class. I'm not intending to ask questions in which you don't know the answer, but I mean, sometimes you ask question and you ask a student a particular question, he cannot answer it because maybe he was sick when you were teaching that lesson, or he was absent, unnecessary absence. And that's where Solo says, in this case, pre-structural should come first as the first stage of the Solo taxonomy. Okay? But again, when it comes to assessment, pre-structural is included. But when it comes to designing learning outcome, we do not include pre-structural. You will not be foolish to write a learning outcome expecting everyone to fail that learning outcome. Okay?
Yes.
So you only use 4, that is unistructural, multistructural for low-level thinking, and then you have relational and extended abstract for higher level. Okay, higher order thinking.
Can I
So,
interrupt, Mr.
yes. Anyone can interrupt.
Me, just what you said now about pre-structural not being included in the assessment, but where does it come in? It comes in during marking or during evaluation?
Yes, it comes in assessment, but not in designing learning outcome for your lesson. Okay, because the solo taxonomy, like I said before, is a taxonomy for teaching and learning. Bloom is a taxonomy for knowledge. Solo is a taxonomy for teaching and learning. So in order for us to know if learning takes place, the solo taxonomy must cater for that. And that is when it includes pre-structural. Because when you map a student response and it's wrong, then you award pre-structural.
Okay.
Okay?
Clear.
Yeah. So it's only used for assessment, but not for writing learning outcomes.
Thank you, Mr. Clear.
Okay, and maybe I'll just go through comprehensive and alternate assessment using constructive alignment. I mean this, okay? These are your learning outcomes. If you can look at my screen, these are your learning outcomes taken from the textbook. You take only one because there is only one, but you need to include the other three for skills, knowledge, and attitude. Okay? Then you need to come up with a teaching method or teaching strategies. Okay? You choose one particular or two integrated teaching methods together, and you carry out activities for knowledge, for skills, for attitude, and for living together. Okay? So this will be embedded in your lesson plan. It will be seen in your lesson plan. For example, activity 1A, that is knowledge. And if you have some more knowledge, activity 1B, it's still knowledge. Where do we get that one? Because knowledge comes number one. Okay? And then the next one, activity 2.A. That activity now will go along with skills. We have passed knowledge. We have created some internal knowledge. Now we need to expose this knowledge whether we can apply this knowledge with some skills. Okay? And then in the end, we have how do you know that they understood everything that you have given? How do you justify it? Then it must come. The last thing to do is you must have an assessment task. Okay? To assess what? Well, you have 4 things to assess. You must assess knowledge, you must assess skills, you must assess attitude, and that is during the lesson when they work together and how they cooperate. Yeah? The 2 last aspects can be observed during the lesson. Okay? So when we say constructive alignment, simply we are talking about these 3 triangular arrangement. From 4 learning outcome to teaching and learning activities in which they will address the 4 learning outcomes up there. And when it comes to assessment, it will address those 4 learning outcomes as well. Okay? I understand that there will be little difference between performance. Okay? But that is important because now we know that Peter needs to improve while Mary is okay. Okay? So constructive alignment simply means from learning outcome to teaching method to assessment. Okay? The only difference you need to think about is that you start with 4 learning outcome, 4 learning activities for each of them, And when you come to assessment, 4 assessment aspects that will address the 4 learning outcomes. It's almost, if I say knowledge with or faith without works is dead, then it's the same as knowledge without skills is useless. Okay? You can say, I have a PhD, I have a master. No skills, that paper is useless. So I give you some more explanation here for assignment 1 design. You just choose a learning outcome from the lesson plan and write 3 other learning outcomes, which will go for skills, attitude, and live together. So you have this learning outcome taken from the textbook, and then you develop skills to go with it, attitude, and live together. And my example is here. Okay, my learning outcome. At the end of this topic, my student will, not Peter and Mary only, not Tom, Dick, and Harry only, my students, I mean from the thumb one to the bright one. I have no discrimination. That's why I did not put should be able to, but I enforce this statement by using will. That's my will. All my students will learn. Okay? If they are running behind in every class, normal situation, I will go back to those lower ones, to thumb ones, and I'll take more time with them than this bright one. Okay? That's how a teacher cares for learning. Okay? Jesus said, if one sheep is lost, let the 99 left by themselves. You go and look for the lost one. Okay? That is the duty of a teacher. Caring for all students learning. No discrimination, no bias decision. Okay? Anyway, so these are my learning outcomes. As you can see, there are 4. Now, having written 4 learning outcomes, then I need to choose a teaching method, cooperative teaching method, jigsaw, or presentation, or what. Any constructivist teaching strategy. Okay? Group work or cooperative learning groups, or jigsaw, or what else? Inquiry learning, experimentary learning, exploratory learning, inquiry learning. You can choose any. Okay, and after you've chosen your teaching strategy, then you teach your lesson, and that is, maybe I'll go through it in one of these handouts. Then you dictate how you are going to teach learning outcome 1. What kind of activity will be for learning outcome 1, which is knowledge? How many activities will fit for skills? And what type of activity for attitude? And of course, the last one, when you put them to work in groups, is already addressing live together. You just need to manage that no one is pulling around in any group, and everyone participates. Okay? And then you have your marking criteria for your assessment. Okay? So for knowledge, here, the trainee possesses a comprehensive and holistic understanding of the importance of constructive alignment, and it's explained and discussed clearly in this assignment. Okay, that is the how would I say? That is the top mark. If a student is identified performing at this, according to this statement, then we give him the whole marks. That is 0, 2.55, 7.5, and 10. If he performs at the level of this statement, then we give him 10. With a circle 10, no comment here. You can put excellent, otherwise you leave it. There's nothing to be written because he or she achieved 10. If you decided that, okay, not this one is not really good, maybe 7.5, then you need to write here what is the fall from 10 to 7.5, which is about 2.5. 2.5, what kind of wording, what kind of explanation would you tell this student that you fall at 7.5 because you missed this, you did not include this, you did not do this, okay? And it's the same with this one, but this is for your assignment. If you want in your assignment, I will mark your assignment according to this example. Okay, but I think I got this from your course outline. Now, this is your knowledge. The trainee possesses a comprehensive and holistic understanding of the importance of constructive alignment, and is explained and discussed clearly in this assignment. Okay. Also, by looking at the nature of your assignment from learning outcome to teaching methods to assessment, this should give me an idea of how you perform in this, okay? Now, if I say, okay, 10, I give you 10 here, that's not the end, it's not finished yet. Because that mark is for your knowledge only, okay? Now I will mark your skills. ICT utilization, which implicates in formatting and writing of the assignment, heading and paragraphing, automated paging using footer, tabling and graph representation, especially when you write your lesson plan, automated in-text reference and bibliography. The explanation of the assessment strategy chosen is appropriate for the topic chosen and assess the 4 learning skills: learning to know, learning to do, learning to be, and learning to live together. And if you perform all of this, then you get out of 10 and your comment will be excellent. Yeah? If you get something below, like 5, I should comment that you fail to format your assignment. There is no page at the bottom of the assignment, and the paragraphs are squeezy, and the heading are all different, too many types of heading, and that's why I give you 7.5 out of 10 instead of 10. Okay? Then I come to this one. Oh, sorry. That is the last one. That is for live together. I'll try and enlarge it here. For attitude, patience, perseverance, use time productively, dedicated to do the assignment on time with no procrastination. Okay? I'm not saying that you cannot give me an excuse. Of course, you have lots of excuses because we did not do the right thing at the very first time. Okay, so maybe you can blame ourselves. That's okay, but we will not expect this to go on with the next assignment and so on. Next assignment is that we are swapping assignment 2 with assignment 3. Assignment will go directly to how to write an examination using blueprint construction, automated three-way proportion table, and we do it with computer, without computer, and should be okay with you. Okay, so that is the explanation of constructive alignment. From knowledge, skills, and attitude as learning outcome, and when we teach those learning outcomes, it should include activities for knowledge, skills, and attitude. And when we come to assessment, the assessment should cater for knowledge, skills, attitude, and live together. So now we start with 4, we teach with 4, and we assess with 4. And that is the meaning of constructive alignment. And that is where we practice the teaching and delivery of this new outcome-based curriculum. Okay? So thank you very much for your time. And if you have any question, you can ask. Otherwise, I shall stop here. If you have any question at all, or I am talking to myself, not knowing if you are with me or not. Any query, any question? Or if you have posted me a question and I haven't answered you yet, you can ask now, and I shall answer you now. Tolson, you have any question, or are you hearing me or not?
Not, I have not any question yet, since I have just started downloading, and hopefully maybe this week I will yes, try and update myself with the readings and other things, so maybe I will have question later on.
Yes.
I will post the questions later.
Yes. What about others? It looks as if a lot have ran away. Maybe they need to travel back home. Oh. Okay.
Yes, from
Otherwise,
thank you.
are you okay?
Thank you for the thank you for the presentation. Yes, thank you
Okay.
for the presentation, and you summarize everything, especially on the notes and the assignment.
Yes.
And we'll continue to read for the next topics and prepare for the major assignments.
Yes.
Just went
Yes. You take your time. I know you are teachers. You are very busy. There's no need to rush. But I need to know how you are doing. Yes. So I'm not here to penalize anyone or to pull someone. I'm here to hear what's your concern, what's your issues, what can I do about it. Yes, but we'll go along with all our situations since you have your own and we have our own technical problems. Sometimes the internet is down and we cannot. Yes, but let's come to one agreement. Shall I come on here every week or 2 times in a week, or just to update you, to keep on,
Yes.
to be comfortable in doing this course? What is your suggestion? Or should I appear only when you...
Yeah, well, let's just try and hear from others.
Sorry?
I guess once a week. I guess once a week should be appropriate.
Yes, once a week. Okay, let's say once a week, every 3:30 to 4:30, even to 5 o'clock. And if you have any problem, you come and you enroll, you participate. If you have no problem, then there is no need to bother to come and participate. Okay, let it be as flexible as we can. Okay, as we can do it.
Mr. Ian,
Yeah.
could you populate the marking criteria? Because some of us here, we do not see any marking criteria for the assessment one.
Okay, it's in week 1.
Okay.
Week 1 readings, you download the course outline, and it's in the course outline.
Okay. Okay.
At the back, where before blueprint for examination. Okay? But I'll check it after this if we. But I think I remembered I put the course outline, that is LOF, Learning Outcome Framework Alignment. Yes, LOAF. It's in that document. Or you look at the assessment detail and you will see every assessment, assignment 1 with marking criteria, the one I just showed, and assignment 2, which is achievement assessment, marking criteria, and the last one, how to write an examination. And of course, the last assessment is examination. I think a 3-hour examination. Or maybe for you will reduce to 2 hours. So your graduation is at the end of this year. It's supposed to be at the end of this year. For all second years will graduate with a diploma after completing all these courses. Yes, and if you continue, then you are doing a degree course.
Online?
Maybe it will be available to online.
Oh, that's good.
I'm not sure. But after you complete MIGS221 and you have one more next semester, that's all. Finish. Okay, I think.
Mr.
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Kennedy,
Yeah.
can I ask? I have a question.
Yes. Yes.
About the assignment that you have been explaining now.
Yeah.
Can I am one of them who was panicked because of the due date. The due date was passed for some weeks, and then I did this assignment and submitted it. But after your explanation today, can I redo it and email it to you, because I already dropped this assignment in the Dropbox.
No problem. No problem. You can redo it. Yes, because I think after my explanation, a lot of you now are clear about what to do with this course, especially with assignment 1.
Yes.
Yes, it's okay, no problem. You will cancel the first one that you submitted, and you can redo it and you email it. Yes, no problem.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome. Okay, are we done with others? No more questions, no more queries? Because we shall look out now in 1 minute.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a nice evening, everybody. And I'll see you next Wednesday, same time. Yes, and let me see your faces. Some of you have very scary faces. Hope to meet
Okay,
you
thank you, Mr.
again.
Ian.
Yes, I'll keep updating you so that you can be successful at this course. Yeah, bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Ian.
Yeah, thank you.
Trong pala yan ni out na ya sot pala yan ni kam. Okay, na mi kam lo na mitin na.